back to that.
No, the recording start.
Yeah, I can see some might have to rejoin again because of the.
Can you move your slide? Yes or no? Is there any problem?
Okay, yeah,
Can I?
it's kind of stuck. Okay. I have to stop presenting and then I present again. My slide is stuck. Okay, can you now all see the slide?
Yes, now.
Very good. Okay, like I was saying, the approach that I'm going to use here is I will try to share my experience because it seems like this thing is a journey. It's a journey that all of us will at certain point have to undergo. So I would like to share my experience because I know that there is so many experienced professors and researchers who are frequently giving a talk, especially with this new normal. You can sit right in your home at the comfort of your home and still get a lot of information about how to start all this publication process. So I feel it will be more relevant and a bit more interactive if I share at least a little about what I have passed through throughout my journey from the beginning up until this stage. So in that case, maybe you will be able to reflect. And if at certain stage, you can also remember that you are not alone and somebody has also been there and you eventually finish that process, just a matter of time. So based on that one, I make some assumptions for that, many of you are actually novice per se, must have had so much about the publication and you have different techniques and ways of doing your own publication. So I just need to use the medium to make a sharing session. So if you're ready, let's go. But before we begin, there's a statement here that I want you to just take a look at it and try as much as possible to sincerely answer. There is no wrong or right answer. At the end of the presentation, you uh, have an idea. You can leave it for yourself, and this is more a benchmark of what you said in your career, what you really want to achieve. Questions that you answer, either A or B, will determine where you really want to go in your career as an academic. Uh, the A is how do you consider, what is your perception about research? A is writing to fulfill your degree requirement or meet the criteria for academic promotion. B to contributing your quota in advancing knowledge in your field. So these are just two statements which I just want you to answer it sincerely and just answer it yourself. You will answer or we can see the answer as we go into the slides towards the end. You can have implication to the questions you or which statement you like. So if you do that, then it's now time to chat. So I want you to take a little time, grab a cup of coffee, and if you are someone who is like me, you want to take more of water, so you can take your water. Please permit me to put some water because we are just going to chat. It's not going to be very formal. Remember, I said there is no difference between me and you, so I'm going to take my water. And I also want you to do the same. Comfortable, because we are going to chat. It's going to be more like chatting. So have something to kind of make yourself hydrated. Because you know, when we are talking, when we are chatting, you need to be hydrated for smooth flow of the discussion. So are we all ready? Are we good to go? Everyone ready?
Yeah,
Okay,
ready.
thank you. Then let's go. Okay, the first questions that we need to answer is why do we even need to publish? There are some points here that I just try to look at and just try to go through and try to see what is even the reason why we need to publish. Some of the point here is academic, or which is knowledge, which is implication for research capability. Remember that you are a PhD or a master student. At the end of the day, you are expected when you get your degree to have certain capability, certain level of proficiency in terms of conducting research. That's all. Your degree, it's actually not going to help a lot if you do not have this capability in conducting research. So that's what the first thing that we need to understand. So how do we have this capability? How do we showcase? How do we demonstrate this? It's through, of course, publication. So that's why we need to publish in order to justify that the certificate we get is actually worthy in terms of guiding us to make publication. So the next thing under this academic is citations. So this citation is just, you can look at it as a way of communication in an academic arena. Um, if you cite or you do a research, you publish your work, you are now saying that you have seen a problem, and based on that problem, you communicate to the people in your area that, look, guys, there's a problem here, and they look into that problem and they're like, okay, I think someone is trying to say something here. Let's look at it. Okay, yeah, I think there's a problem here. Try to solve this problem. Then these guys will now look at your work, and when they read your work, then they can see that you have solved certain problem that might be familiar to them or a bit peculiar to their own problem. So they look into that and they see that you're able to fill a certain gap, but there is still something that they want you to maybe they themselves want to do. So they have to cite your work to show that something has been done in that area. Nevertheless, there is still a problem that they need to look into. That is why they get citation. So it's more of communication. This is a communication style or communication strategy. Imagine if you publish your work for like 2 years and nobody, I repeat, nobody cite your work. What does that mean? It simply means that it's either you are probably publishing something which is wrong and they don't agree with you. That is why they don't cite your work. Or there is no effective means of communication. Maybe you have all the idea and everything is right, but you do not put it in a way that they will understand so that they can communicate with you. So this is the way we look at it in terms of academic communication. That's why I put citations there. The next thing is practice, implication for practice. When we do the work, we always try to emphasize on repetition, practical implication of the work. When you do something, you want to make sure that that work is capable or has some, certain degree of replicability, so that other people, so you do something in Malaysia, other people in Nigeria, other people in any other country will be able to at least not adopt but adapt that work that you have done, which is at least you have given them an idea to replicate what you have done. And the next thing is the actual application. So after that replication, the next thing is to apply. So we do apply in industry, in business, and later on it comes into patent. So we patent the idea. When you do something worthy, something novel, you will probably want to patent that one so that you can safeguard, because it's your IP, intellectual property. So This is all example of practice. The next point is teaching-led, research-led teaching. So in this way, teachers, they always say that their reward is in the heaven because of what they do. They always strive to make us better, and they bring us to this stage. Without teachers, we would not be talking, we would not be having this discussion. So we do it in order to advance the teaching so that we can have a better society, have people who will have good mindset to do something. And the next thing is provision of case studies and examples. So through research, we'll be able to modify so many things, control, not to control, moderate, and all that. So these case studies will help us to understand the research, all the issues, all the problem, what we need to control, what happens if we do this, what happens if we change it to the other direction. So we're able to see the implication, the results of what we probably need to look into. That will give us an opportunity to understand the problem in a kind of holistically, but in a different perspective. If we control this variable and then we kind of let that variable constant, what happens? So these case studies, it's enough or and it's good in terms of contributing to teaching. The next thing is public policy. So implication for policy, you carry out the research and your finding is expected to make an influence. It's expected to uh, influence the stakeholders in order to kind of develop a policy for the public, you know, to influence their life, to affect their life, your research. And finally, you will be targeting the society. If you do something that is not valuable to the society or to the people, it's as good as you are wasting your time. So implication for society, like actual change of norms and values, environmental impact, social responsibility, and so on. So this is, at the end of the day, we have people who we are targeting in order to improve their life, in order to change the system. If something is not going right, we carry out research to make it right if it is wrong. So you will believe with me that without research, we will definitely not be where we are right now. This certain situation of COVID-19, you can see so many countries are into research, try to find out how we can find a vaccine to this, and they are working on it. And very soon it will be settled. Very soon it will be like everything is considered solved. Then they have to approach a new a problem to provide solution. Without research, we cannot do this. So these are some of the points that we need to do or we need to consider before we do the research. If we cannot have all these implications, then there is no need for us to carry out the research. So this takes us to another important point. Permit me to drink my water again because I just want you to replicate what is going on. If you are in academia or you ask people, our seniors professors, those who have been in business for 10 years, they will tell you that in the past, all you are expected to do is just to publish. And gradually it changes to publish or perish. They introduce a word here, you perish. And it gets so crazy again to publish in high impact journals or perish. It does not stop there. It goes into publish frequently in high impact journals and maybe, I repeat, and maybe you won't perish. This is the evolution. This is the reality. This is what's going on in academia. You cannot stop it. I cannot stop it. And there is absolutely nothing we can do about it. That's the honest truth. So what do we need to do is I have found a word here. It is kind of one quote that I find it's suitable here. We cannot stop the waves, but surely we can learn to surf. We cannot stop this. What is going on here, we can't stop it, guys. We cannot stop it. But we should find a way to live with it, to survive in this, you know, environment, in this business. We're gonna have to find a way to survive. So this is the reality, which I'm sure many of you can relate to that one. If you are a postgraduate student, depending on which university you are, there are some universities that will ask you to publish your work in an indexed journal only. But some other university, if you publish in indexed journal that is not Scopus or ISI, it is not considered as a requirement for you to graduate. So you can see how it is. Now they are saying Scopus, and then later on they might say ISI, and then they start going with the ranking. Okay, they want certain rank in ISI and all that. So this is something that we have to understand and something that we need to know. We cannot do anything about it, but just we can find a way to live with it and at least to survive. Okay, there are some problems. These are the problems that we encounter, but I try to look at this problem based on two dimensions, personal and experience. Number one, under the personal, I look at it as, laziness, a lack of motivation. Kind of sometimes we just want to do something, but we are lazy or we are not motivated. So if we don't have this motivation, we are lazy, we cannot do it. There's no way if we are lazy, we do that. Lack of self-confidence. Sometimes we doubt ourselves. Are we really the one? Can we really do this? So we doubt. And there's a poor time management. Sometimes, or most often than not, we don't really manage our time. I always tell myself, if I wake up in the morning and I don't have any objective for the day, then I should better go back to sleep. Even if I want to watch a movie, sometimes I review movies. I just sit down and review some movies that I like. So at least I know that from 2 to 4, for example, it's a time for movie time. So I just watch a movie. That's it. So at least I have, managed my time that so before when it is not 2, then I shouldn't be watching movie. I should be doing something. This is an example of time management. So sometimes no focus, no direction. We're just there. You ask a PhD student, a postgraduate student who is in semester 3, what is your research all about? What are you investigating? It's like, I'm still on it. I'm still on it. That's it. So there's no direction, no clear direction. If you don't have focus, you don't have direction, then definitely you will not go anywhere. So there is limited support. Support system is very important. Sometimes we need to find people to help us go further. When I went to UMP to stay with my co-supervisor, I met someone who is very excellent. He's an engineer, but he's excellent, the best. And this guy is what to say, kind of almost into his 4th year of, I think 3rd year of PhD, but everything is there, but he does not really have motivation to continue or to go on. So when I joined the lab and I noticed that he's kind of good, but what happened? He cannot continue, he has no motivation. So what I did, I just go into his seat and I put a chair and I sit down with him. I just say, right, mark you, I do not know his area. I'm not an engineer, so most of the way they do the writing and all those things, I don't understand. But what I did was to make sure that I sat by his side and I said, just write. He knows how to write and he knows exactly what he needs to write, but he just needs some support system to keep him company to do that. So that's how he was able to finish because of the support. So we are expected to support each other. We're expected to have this support system. When we are in need of someone, then we get that one. But most of the time we don't have that. It's going to be like a lonely journey for us. So it will be kind of difficult for us to have the support. And of course, we have a fear of failure or taking risk. Sometimes we don't want to take risk at all. Feel like we are inadequate, and what happens if I fail? That will hurt, me and my dignity. So I rather not even go into that. So this is some personal. And the next thing is the experience, which I will take you through this experience, how it started and how it goes through, which is kind of very important. If you're able to control this personal, then of course there are other things, which is the experience that will militate against you. So the first point here is where to publish. When is a study worthy of publication? When do you think that your study is really kind of good to go? And the next thing is lack of clarity on editorial policies. This is talking about expected peer review times, the right way to approach a journal editor, and handling or responding to peer reviews, difficulty in becoming recognized, influencing editorial policy. These are some experiences that, whether we like it or not, play a huge role in this process or in this publication business. I will share my experience with you. When I started and I got frustrated with this kind of thing, and I started asking the senior professors, the first uh, professors I asked, I said, why is it that every single time I sent my manuscript, it got rejected? The answer was, who are you? Who knows you? Why would they even consider if you are nobody? So if you are not recognized, the journey it's even tougher for you, much more difficult compared to when you are recognized. So this experience, and I will be spending much time on that. But if we look at that one, I have to acknowledge, as you remember, I said our difference is not that much. We are a little bit, similar. So I know that what is going on behind the scene. You can see that uh, this kind of illustration, son, I don't see your name here. The son was asking, "Are you at the publish or perish category?" You can see there is a huge of rejected papers in his hands, but nobody knows. If all they can come up with a matrix that will show the number of papers rejected per each individual, probably people might be able to respect the system more than that. It is really difficult. But well, nobody cares how you struggle, how many papers you got rejected. Nobody cares. All people are after is the end product. What is the result? Yes, accepted or not. That's all. You cannot tell people that you have so many rejections. So at this stage, people feel like, come on, I have tried so many times and I fail. Then I cannot do this anymore. This is the stage where we give up. That's it. We cannot continue. And at this stage, uh, we make some decision that actually this publication is not for me. So let me just give it up. Let me uh, just forget about it and do something that maybe I'm good in. So just take a look at that one. Don't think too much. These are the skills that are required for you to excel in publication. The more you look at it, the more you become more confused. Because come on, you'll be thinking that how on earth an individual will have all these things. Information management, communication skills, analytical problems, self-management, time management, all that. These are kind of, the more you look at it, it became jittery. How am I supposed to have that? But guys, we are all not perfect. We do have all the other. So to be honest with you, it would be difficult to find someone who is going to be good in all these aspects. But for sure, some people will be better in others. Some will be maybe good in a different dimension. All are different based on our nature. So based on that, I extracted something that I found more worthy for you to focus on instead of this one is a bit abstract. So I call this one the P's of publications. So there are four, and the first one is perform. You submit the best manuscript you can. That's it. You should be able to have a system whereby you can judiciously, honestly judge the quality of your manuscript. So if you are going to approach a journal, at least you know that this is my best. This is the best manuscript that I have. You just have to remember, you don't dish out what you cannot buy yourself. The requirement for top journals. So what I'm saying here is that if you produce a manuscript, for example, you finish the manuscript and then you just kind of say, okay, this is a manuscript. You find someone in your own area. You said, I have written something and I just want you to give me $5, $5, 5 ringgit for it. It will help you. Well, if another person approach you and ask you to pay for 5 ringgit to just have that manuscript because the person claims that that manuscript will help you. Now, will you just take the money and give the person without having to look that is it true this manuscript will help you or not? I'm very much sure you will not bring out your money without checking the manuscript to make sure that it really has something that can help you. If it does not, then it's not going to help you, and definitely you will not buy. So also comes with the publication process. If you know that something you cannot buy yourself, something you are not even happy with, then don't even try to approach the journal, because the end result will be the disaster. Most of the journals will definitely reject, and that will hurt you the more. So this perform, you're gonna have to do that on the perform, and the next thing is practice, and you consider it as a gift. You can only get better in publishing with practice. So that's the key. We have to respect the learning curve. The learning curve. We have to respect that. We can't just wake up one day and then we feel like we're going to be better tomorrow. We just start this morning and then in the afternoon or in the evening, we're going to be better. It will not be like that. It doesn't happen, and it will never happen unless if you are, kind of next level, mental. So in that case, we will have to kind of raise. And if you can do that, then you are really worthy of emulation. So the only thing is you just have to practice, and that's how it gets better. And uh, I have reasons all to show you that this is real, because I have some proofs to show that you just need to keep doing it, and then you'll get better at it. Observe your SB and other prominent colleagues about the strategies. So they have their own strategies. You just have to look at them. There's a way they do it that is kind of, it helps them a lot. So there is a different strategy. While you are a postgraduate student, please, I will advise you to do this. It's very, very important, because if you don't do it, you regret it later on. It's really going to be hot and tough out there. Unless if you do not opt to be an academic, or you just don't want to continue in this line any longer. But if you do really want to be an academic, it's going to be hot and tougher by the time you finished, and then you want to join into the real system. So if you don't have this strategy, then you will be like running, but you'll be in one place. So you should try as a postgraduate student, my dear postgraduate student. I always have to call you that, because I feel we are the same. So please try as much as possible to learn as many as you can while you are in this journey. You can finish, it does not matter. You can finish even without correction for your Viva, PhD, everything settled, no correction, the best, mantap, all the best, excellent. That does not determine how successful you're going to be in your next career, most especially when you want to join academic. So you have to have a system of strategy. And the best way to do that is observe the people, those prominent colleagues, your supervisor, the best person. You need to do that. So most academics under this practice and feedback, most academics mistake constructive feedback for critique or even discrimination, and become very defensive or argumentative. Sometimes it's difficult to correct people, very, very difficult. And I was talking to a colleague of mine, and he said that he will not even continue to correct people, because whenever he tries to do his best to correct people, they try to look at it as if he's just criticizing them. And in that case, they're very defensive, very argumentative. Feedback is a gift which you have to always, if you are to look at the way it is, sometimes we even need to pay money to get a feedback. I have these issues. I faced these issues when I was doing my master's. When I was trying to go into a journal, try to publish, it became so difficult, so tough. And at the end of the day, I was able to, or lucky to find one very kind editor to allow my manuscript to go for the review. It was rejected, but I was lucky to have a feedback from that professors or the people, about three of them. If you see the feedback, it's almost 3 pages. They wrote it. Believe me, after that feedback, I finished my thesis in 6 months. So basically, in less than 1 year, I finished my PhD and my master's. Within 8 months, I've already submitted, and I have my Viva within 1 year. Just because I got the feedback to do it right, and I got all the way. Okay, this is the way you should do it. So they understood that by looking at the writing style, oh, this must have been very young and naive. So let's help him. So they took their time, right? This is the way it should be. This is the way it should be. That is why I will never ever mistake feedback to be a critic. Never. And I also want you guys, my dear postgraduate student, I will always tell you this, and I will keep repeating it. Please do not mistake feedback to be a critic. We or many of the people are not trying to criticize your work, but rather try to make it better. Which, if you look at it, you will look to pay money in order to get that. Okay. The third P is participate in academic networks. Do get out there and create your own academic networks. If you don't have this network, forget it. There is this common saying, if you want to go far, you go with people. But if you want to go and you become consistent, or if you want to go fast, sorry, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, then you're going to have to go with people. This is real. If you really want to go in this field, in this area, you have to have a network. Definitely, you cannot do it alone. Okay, as a student, you could get involved in research work of your peer students in the same area. I have experience to share with you guys, but before I share this experience, permit me to drink my water as usual. Thank you. Okay, when I was doing my PhD, because after my master's, when I started, I did not know anything, and I did not even try to break into all this publication because I tried and I was still failing. So based on the experience I gather, my master's degree, and then when we came for the PhD, we have four of our uh, students who are also under the same supervisor. So the supervisor has this way, a system of you as his students, you need to get involved in the work of the other student of his. So which means that basically we are supposed to know the work of the other colleague, other researcher, other students under our same supervisor. So if they are going to the field to collect the data, we follow. If they are going to meet with any of the stakeholders in that area, we follow them. So we kind of get involved in all their work. That makes us plus better because at least we have experience of having another, idea in a different perspective, a different area that we are not working on. That's not enough. That's not the end. We come up with this strategy since we are four of us. Then um, we have to have a system whereby we constantly publish because we know how difficult that it is. And based on what we have gathered at the master's level, so we at least be able to do that one. So we say that per month, four of us, for every month, we need to have one manuscript per person. So in a month, we are looking at four. So when we have this, each manuscript was divided it into different parts. Some people will take the introduction, some will take the data analytics, the methodology part, some will go for the discussion, and of course the conclusion. So it's three parts. So once I finish with my own part, which may be introduction, then straight away I have a timeline. Okay, by so dates, my paper should be with another person, which is the next student who knows exactly what he needs to do. So he will do that in that part, and he will also send another part to me. So that's how we keep interchanging. Guys, every month we have these four papers ready. So the final stage of this collaboration is we sat down in an office and then we project it. So 4 eyes plus our supervisors 5, which we are talking about 10 eyes looking at the same manuscript. Right from the introduction, projection, look at it, and then we start criticizing. This is not right, this is down, this is this is that, until That is done. So we finish with that first paper. We go to the next one. We go to the next paper for another person. Once we finished all that, every person has a target of which journal that he or he needs to send. So the following week is the sending time. So we send all the papers to the journals. So at the end of the day, in the following week, we got a lot of rejection. Out of four, sometimes we started getting lucky to get two already under review. So every month when we begin to be better in that, because of course with practice, then every month we will have about one or two good news. So that's how we go. I can tell you in all our network, the one with the less number of publication is the one with 25 for graduating, 25. Scopus ISI, 25 in our group. The less. Many of us, you'll be talking about 50 and above. Mostly that we started quite earlier. So this is how you as a postgraduate student, you can help each other. I will show you how you can even do trans discipline, even if someone is not in your area. Probably you might say, I have, well, I'm only one supervisor, so I don't have anyone. But chill, I will show you and I will tell you based on experience how you can still create this network. Just keep following. And I'm sure, or I can say that I hope your coffee is by your side, trying to be dehydrated while we are going with this discussion. Okay, the next one is persist, persist, persist. I repeated this 3 times to show you uh, why it is necessary for us to persist. Remember, the characteristics that distinguishes successful academics from the less successful ones is persistence. There is nothing more than that. And I can tell you this, publication, it's rather an art, not really a science. It's not a rocket science. It is an art, more of an art. Maybe you might say it's my own opinion, but this is based on what I have experienced. It is an art. If you have all the art, to put all the spices, all the condiments. It's just like when you know how to cook very well. So you put all the spices. It might not, maybe the food might not be really, just a maybe simple rice, but you have this, strategy of, putting the right recipe in the right moment and at the right, time. Then you're good to go. Most of the people with the fundamental knowledge in the area, I have noticed this. The best, excellent, you know that these guys, they are the best top, but they find it difficult to go into publication process. Why? Because the recipe, it's not there. So sometimes you see the way they write in their own writing style is old school, and that's why it's difficult. People want something, they want some condiments, some spices. If you don't have the spices, it will not even entice the editor, so that the editor will just take it back. But when you look at, you read their work, then you can say, oh, the best. These guys are the best in their area. They have all the fundamental knowledge, but maybe the recipe is not there. And that is why they find it difficult to break into this stage because of this issue. So we need to persist, do it more, and don't give up. Remember that rejection is part of an academic daily life. If you would give up after a rejection, you wouldn't get very far. As I'm saying this, I just remember I remember what happens to me when I want to do that one. Sorry, it's a kind of full of stories and full of that one. But when I was trying way back in 2014, when I started, I tried so much time to go in. But the more I send, the more I get rejection. It came to a point, guys, where I begin to feel, um, am I really the only one suffering from this? Or they just single me out and doing this to me? But I did not give up. I still continue to persist. So it has come to a point whereby I develop immunity. It's just like when you have immunity over something, even if the thing has entered into you, you will not feel it. So I have developed immunity for rejection. When I send my manuscript to an editor, once I send it and then I go to sleep, I go with the intention that the following morning I wake up with the email that it has been rejected. So that's how it started. So when an editor holds my work for like 2 days, I began to worry. And my worry is that I know definitely he's not going to accept the work, but he will delay me in terms of sending my article to another journal because I know definitely he will reject. So it has come to a situation whereby I don't consider rejection as a problem anymore. But mark you, I'm not saying that I'm not feeling bad. I really felt it. It was very bad. But I have developed this immunity that keep rejecting, but I will continue. This is how persistence really. And I will show you that it pays. Just keep following me. Okay, now let's understand indexing so that we can understand where to publish. I will also make some consideration here, knowing that you are not hearing this for the first time, but this will just give you an idea of when you want to publish, where do you want to publish, because this will determine the rejection rate, your success, and all that. The first thing is Google Scholar. I want you to take a look at this Google Scholar citations. This is my Google Scholar. And if you look at it, you can see I have a total number of citations, 605. I feel very bad doing this because I do not really feel like it's the right thing to do, but I have no other means to make you understand it except this, so that you can understand it better. So forgive me for this. If you look at the right hand corner, you can see articles 1 to 33, which means that in Google Scholar, I have a total number of 133 articles under Google Scholar. So what I want you to understand here is Google Scholar is like a general more to master of all in terms of citations, in terms of indexing of manuscript. In as much as you publish your manuscript, whether it's in ISI, whether it is in Scopus, whether it is in Index Copernicus and all those other indexing company, Google Scholar will reflect it and it will show in Google Scholar. So for this, if somebody is joining me, or that we have a new in the house who is not signed off with the Google Scholar, please do so. And that will be one of the steps to start creating academic profile. So just to show you another evidence that way back, if you look at the citation indexing way back in 2015 when I started, I was nowhere. 2014, I was in my village, and then I came in 2015, tried to go in, cannot. 16, you can see very, very low. And then it get better to 2020 based on the indexing and the metrics that you can see there. So the next one is take a look at the Scopus. This is one of the database also that is often and more recognized in academic right now. You can see it said that I have a total number of 81 documents. If you compare with Google Scholar, you can see that it has very low number of manuscript, which means that Scopus shows or index papers and track citations that are only in Scopus database. For example, I have a total number of 251 citations by 119 documents. So 119 documents or papers cited my work 251 times. If you consider with the citation from the Google Scholar, you can see 605. So what it's now saying is that if a paper that cites my work is not indexed in Scopus, Scopus will not count that as part of my citation. It will not count it. So that is how the citation is lower compared to the citation in Google Scholar. So you can see even the H index, I have 9 in Scopus, and you can see I have 12 in Google Scholar, which means that Google Scholar has more index value compared to the Scopus. So this is the way to see the difference between Google Scholar and Scopus, which we will use it later on to talk about where you need to send your work to. The next one is Web of Science. You often hear ISI, Institute of Scientific Information. You always hear that, which many people refer to as Web of Science. So you remember in Scopus, I have 81. So if you look at the very bottom of this slide, you can see that I have 39 publications from Web of Science core collection. So this is the publication on the Web of Science, which is excluding Scopus. Web of Science has their own metrics and have their own way of looking at that one. And my H index in Web of Science is 4 compared to Scopus, compared to Google Scholar is low, because the same rules apply. If I have citations in Web of Science, then it means that every manuscript that cited my work will have to be published in Web of Science before I will get this as a metrics for me. So you can see I have a total number of 48 citing articles. I have been cited 69 times in Web of Science. So you can see Google Scholar is liberal, and Scopus is semi-liberal, and Web of Science is conservative, more conservative, based on the criteria, the quality control system. It's conservative, and that is why the metrics is going to be a little bit kind of lower. So I also will urge you, if you are not already did not sign off with the ISI metrics, because remember our publish or perish, later on they will not be talking about Scopus any longer. They will be talking about Web of Science. So they will ask you what is your H index in Web of Science. So please do sign up with the Web of Science. You can just sign up and they will have a researcher ID for you, which identified as your own personal research ID, which you need to have that one. So if you have not signed up with this one, just sign it up and that will become handy later on. So now we come into where to publish. This is very important in terms of making decision. Why you need to know this is because you have to decide where best to send your manuscript. So the first one here I mentioned is we call them indexed journals. You can see WorldCat, academic journals, you can hear so many of them. Index Copernicus, Google Scholar, MCC, they are called indexed journals. So let's look at their characteristics. They welcome publication that do not necessarily present new methods or ideas. So if you have a publication that does not present any new ideas, you are just merely replicating what other people have done, then you will consider going for a just merely index journal. The peer review is not meticulous, so they don't really take too much time. They don't really go rigorous peer review process. Just sometimes they don't even do the peer review anyway. Most of them. They promise rapid acceptance and publication. Some of them, I repeat, some of them are really profit oriented. You will hear or you can see so many emails from them every single day. If you maybe publish one or two and your emails is there, they will always send an invitation for you. Sometimes there is one kind of people, they call themselves, you know, kind of they publish books. I think I got their names, but they target more of postgraduate students because they know they are very young and naive. So they will say that you will be given the opportunity to publish your thesis free of charge, and they will give you some royalty, something like that. And all you have to do is just give them your thesis and they will publish it for you. So you, as you know, eager and kind of naive, you will say, okay, fine, since it's free, let me just give them my thesis and they will just publish it for you. Um, they will keep disturbing you with that kind of emails just to publish that one. But at the end of the day, it will have no value and you will not have the opportunity to later on reproduce your work. Because I'm going to tell you this, after you finish and you get all the idea, you will revisit what you have done before. Right now, you are in the learning process. By the time you got the code, you know, the code, it's a code. Once the code is open to you, you get it. Then you will begin to have more ideas. And then from there, you begin to think, actually, in my PhD or in my master's, I do something that is worthy of publication. So let me just revisit it. So, but if you fall victim to allow those people to publish your whole thesis just because they say it's going to be free, then you are in trouble. Because at that time, It's already there. It will take you longer time to rephrase, and at the time it's no longer something new anyway. So be very careful with this kind of people who they are just profit oriented. Many of the journals index are termed as predatory. So they are predatory. They are just there to make the money, don't really care about you. Sometimes you send the work after 1 day, 2 days, they will say, thank you very much. Your manuscript is well written and is therefore accepted. Please proceed for payment. $50, $30, some $100. That's it. So now what is your value? What is the value? You did not get any feedback, no communication between you and the reviewers, which are considered as a gift. The feedback, remember, in our poppies. So they don't give you that. And you also need to pay them money, you know. So it's kind of difficult. It's predatory. Many people go into these journals, but be warned and be very, very careful. So these are index journals. Now we go into Scopus. So Scopus welcomes new methods or ideas. When you have a new method or new ideas, if you approach Scopus journals, it will be smooth, easy peasy. It will be smooth, smooth sailing. Manuscript that contribute to the body of knowledge. So if you just contribute your body of knowledge in terms of theory, in terms of the method, Scopus will welcome that. A relatively rigorous peer review. The peer review is relatively rigorous. Acceptance and publication ranges from 2 to 6 months. So from 2 to 6 months, you should expect decision and first and the final decision. So within that time, in many of the journals, it will be known to you. Most journals index are credible. Most of them are credible, but I want you to, or rather, I want to draw your attention to these Scopus. But before that, permit me to take a sip. Thank you. Okay. Something is going on right now with Scopus. You have to be very, very careful also. Many of the journals now changed their method from being front of pushing scientific to the next level to become profit oriented. So they are after money. I have gone through so many social media accounts, pages, and you can see people saying that submit your work and it will be published in Scopus within 2 months, 1 month. They have people who are making it a business right now. I have seen it. I do not want to disclose that, but then I'm sure many of you can relate to that. You go to Facebook, you go to Instagram, so many pages people are advertising that. But because you see it's Scopus, then you said, fine, I'm going to pay. And no problem, just help me publish my work because it's going to be in Scopus. So the good news is you have a Scopus. The bad news is it is not over yet. It will be retracted. Right now, Scopus are becoming more clever, smarter, and they are really uplifting, taking their quality control to the next level. They have many agents who are checking to make sure that all the journals that are indexed in the Scopus database are credible. They will have an agent that will approach the journal if they suspect the journal is not doing what it's supposed to do. And when they approach that journal, they try to see how is the response, what is the process. Then from there, they report. So do not be surprised when you have 10, maybe 10 Scopus papers in the database. And then after some time, you check from 10, it becomes 8 or it becomes 7. I'm very much sure that you have seen it 10 before, but then you'll be asking yourself, why is it 8 now? Scopus have done something there. They checked it and they retract the papers of that issue from Scopus database. So if you have published in that issue, sometimes for the whole year, the Scopus for the whole year, the manuscript is published, they retracted. So you will no longer have Scopus. It will not be counted. So be careful. These predatory practices, it has now moved from the indexed journal to Scopus journal. So be very, very careful. Remind me at the end of this presentation to show you, because they update now every month. They make an update. of the journals that got removed. It's so serious. They checked every month, they update. If you rely on Simago to check whether this journal is really indexed in Scopus or not, you will be duped. You will be uh, um, deceived. So be careful. And I will, at the end of that, if you don't know how to do that, I will show you how to check that. Just help to remind me. So you be careful about that. The Scopus also, it is not as it used to be, although they are stepping up the process. It's this Clarivate Analytics, which is the Emerging Sources Citation Index. We call it ESCI. So this is the stage of uh, getting into Web of Science, but they are somewhere in the middle. They are at this stage. If the journal is in ESCI, they are noticing, and the Web of Science, they are looking into the progress of the journal, the citations, the number of manuscripts, and all that. So once it gets to a certain level and it fulfills the quality, then it goes into the Web of Science, and that's the best. That's the higher ranking, but all belongs to Thomson Reuters or the now Clarivate Analytics. So these guys, they start with emerging sources in the middle, and then it goes into the Web of Science. But permit me to also remind you that in each of these, let's say Scopus and Web of Science, there is ranking. I'm sure you are not hearing it for the first time. You'll be hearing something around about Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. There is Q1, Q3, Q4 for Scopus. And what it means is simple. Q1, it means that the journal is ranked in that subject area as top 25. Top 25. That's Q1. Q2, the journal is ranked at the 25 to 50 at the middle, Q2. Q3 is 75, from 50 to 75, and Q4 is 75 to 100 within the subject area. If you are in sports science, if you are in communication, if you are in psychology, there are journals in that ranking area. So based on the repetition, citation of the journal, they rank it. And the ranking that is the company or the database that provide the ranking for Scopus is called Simago, and you can share the SGR, Simago Journal Ranking. So same applies to Web of Science. They call it JCR, Journal Citation Report. They have this also Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So sometimes if you go higher, all those high impact, you say I have published my work. They say congratulations. Where do you publish? You say Scopus. They will say, okay, Q what? Is it Q1? Is it Q2? Is it Q3, Q4? Some of the scopers are not even rank. They don't have any QQ. So don't, if you try to check for Kimago and you do not see the rank chill, some of them don't have, which means that they are newly accepted. It takes some time to build this repetition for them to be ranked. Take about 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, based on the number of the manuscript they publish, based the number of citations they receive. So even if you go to Scopus, some people will still ask you what is the ranking, and if you go for ISI, they will ask you what is the ranking. So back to this one, the Emerging Social Citation Index. They welcome the method or ideas. They might require more detailed work as compared to Scopus. So sometimes if you go into Clarivate, because this is more into Web of Science uh, documents, Web of Science products, they want your work to be more details. And going deeper is this Web of Science. So Web of Science, they capitalize on novelty of the work. So if your work is not novel, don't even approach them, because if you do, then you will be disappointed anyway. They have a more rigorous double peer review, sometimes double blind. You don't even need to know. Nobody knows the identity of each other. They offer options for open access. Many are free. Many don't even care. They just put an embargo. They say, okay, opt. Are you going for pre-access? You want to pay for the people to get it free, or you want it to be closed access and it has an embargo period like 1 year, and then after 1 year it's free. So at that time you are free to share in all of those platform, ResearchGate, Academia, all that. So you have the option to choose which one you want to go for. You can see, kind of they are bigger. Author's reputation mostly influence acceptance or rejection. So this is where it comes to who are you in that area. Because some of them believe that if you are not somebody in this area, you cannot do something that is worthy. You cannot come up with something that is novel. So that's why some of them actually, when you submit your work, they try to take a look at who are you in that area. Are you even known? And that's why when I started submitting my work to some of these journals, and I got rejection in 2 to 3 hours. When the editor just looked, thank you very much for sending. I regret to inform you. I sometimes kind of memorize all those responses that I got from them. And the next thing is author's reputation. Okay, mostly influence acceptance or rejection. They promote authors rapidly. So your promotion, by the time you begin to go into this, then congratulations, you are in the way, or you are on your process, on the way to becoming recognized, because they promote you. I will show you evidence for all these things that I'm saying. It's not just my opinion anyway. Sometimes I have some proof and a motivation for you. Takes longer duration before acceptance. So sometimes it's forth and back, forth and back. Anyone who is able to break into this will tell you that the experience was not really, well, it's a good experience, I can say, but it takes time. It really takes time to get accepted, because you will have to deal with the people who are prominent in your field, because they are very, very careful in recruiting the reviewers. You can send Scopus journals and you send, or you kind of suggest reviewers that are not well known. Scopus journals might agree and they say, okay, fine, let's give this person a try, and they send to the reviewer. So sometimes, the quality of the review, the experience of the reviewer will determine, how the final decision is going to be, whether the reviewer is going to accept or they will not accept it. If you don't have experience in the area, you said it's good, I accept. So they recruit reviewers that are very, very reputable. So that's why it takes longer duration before the acceptance. So after you make your decision, this is what happens. Permit me to take my water again to sip the water as usual while you look at the slide. Okay, guys, now we're just trying to take a look inside the mind of an editor. What is going on in the mind of an editor when you are trying to submit a work to the editor? What is going on in their minds? What thing we need to know, we just take a journey to what they are thinking. I'm an academic or researcher just like you. So that's the first thing you need to remember. Do not in any way try to do something misleading, or you have your own work and the findings say something, but you try to make it look bombastic by saying something that actually the result is not even saying, just to kind of make your work look more appealing, more qualitative. So if you do that, you remember you are dealing with the people who are experienced in that area, and they are already in the area, and they are also researching. They are doing their work. So they are very busy persons. Remember that. I have a defined set of performance indicators for my journal. Maybe some of you who are able to break into this will relate to the fact that you finish everything, you're able to break through, and then you go into the journal, accepted the paper, and the editor will tell you that your paper will be published in the next issue. Maybe sometimes even take it to 2021. Let's say we are now in 2020 and your paper is already accepted, but the editor is asking you to wait. You know what happened? Why is it like that? They have a performance indicator. There is a denominator, the total number of manuscripts they publish, how many issues in that issues, versus the citation they receive. So if they publish many papers and they receive lesser citation, their ranking will go low. You remember we talked about this ranking thingy, Q1, Q2. So if you, or if the editor just keep accepting, at the end of the day, the editor will lose the ranking. If they are in Q1, they will drop to Q2, Q3, and once they go to Q4, you know what happened? The candidate will kick them out. They are no longer ranked. So they have a reputation to maintain here. So you just need to remember that they also have, the same way you have a performance indicator. You need to publish this manuscript as a requirement for you to graduate. So also the editor needs to make sure that he maintains that quality control in order to remain where the journal is. So don't be angry sometimes when they reject that. And then the next thing is I receive several manuscripts daily. So remember that. If you know, on average, good journals on average daily, they receive not less than 50 manuscripts. If you want to know this, just try to test the water, find out the journal in your own area, just for fun. You have a manuscript that you want to send, and then try, send it to the journal. There will be an acknowledgement under the manuscript. Maybe you will see JPES, the name of the journal in short, slash now the number of the manuscripts that they received in this year. Sometimes you see JPES slash 205. This is 105. Sometimes you see JPES slash 503 slash 2020. So if you are looking at those manuscript number, then you will realize that it is not an easy thing. How many papers they receive? And mark you, they are not going to publish all the papers because they have to also make sure that the quality control is there. So the next thing is the editor will ask, is your manuscript within the scope of my journal? That's the first thing also. Is it within the scope? The next thing is what differentiates your manuscript from the others? The next thing is, can your manuscript add value to my journal? Can it add value to my journal or not? So in this stage, I'm going to speak to the people who are in humanities, social sciences, arts. You need to step up your game, because the journals that are indexed in Scopus and most of those ISI in this field of study are not much. You have to compete. You have to compete. So if you just want to follow the flow with the way other people, same style with the other people doing, then you will definitely not going to penetrate, because they have so many manuscripts they received, so many, and what they look is what is new about, you know, your manuscript, what differentiate your own with all the others they are receiving. That is why it's getting tough if you are in this area, due to so many reasons. So I really salute people who are in this area, and I also want to use this opportunity to tell you that you have to start changing your mindset. If you do really want to go into these journals, you need to start thinking of a way to add some condiments, some spices into your paper to make it stand out of the crowd. Otherwise, you will never ever be in all these high impact journal, because it is so difficult, it's so competitive compared to life sciences, pure and applied sciences, medicine, health. They have so many journals that are indexed in Scopus, ISI. So the competition is relatively less compared to you guys who are in these humanities and art and science. So just, you have to top up your game. It's high time to begin to tell yourself that you're going to do something different, and then you will begin to see the results. Don't think like the way the other people think. Otherwise, the editor. So when the editor able to do this, this is what's going on in the editor's mind. There are maybe other things, but then these are most of the prominent ones. Then the next thing is the decision. Now the editor will decide. So this is the desk rejection stage, where it will be a crying time for us. you'll be seeing something like, thank you for your submission. Our team has reviewed your article and we will not be extending it. Application offer, we appreciate the work, so, blah, blah, blah. Finally, decline the decision. I cannot imagine if you guys would share. Anyway, maybe you will have the chance to share your own opinion there and your experience. But then I know that you have been into this process, into this journey. You know, you feel like as if the whole world is against you because of this thing. Why only you? Why this? Why that? So this is normal. I have been into this business and we are still into it. We are not immune to rejection. We get it every time it's normal. So this is what the editor would think. If some of those things are not promising, not positive, then the editor will just slam a rejection letter to you. So uh, congratulations if you're able to pass through the desk rejection. And now this is where revision required. So there are some decisions here. I just summarized for you some email contents you can get. It's either you get major revision or you get rejection with hope, or finally your rejection after revision, which is so sad. There's nothing we can do. It happens every time. So major revision, it will be read something like, unfortunately, we are unable to accept your paper for publication in its present form. However, if you believe you can address all the reviewers' comments, we will be pleased to see a revised manuscript, which will be subjected to further peer review and with no guarantee of ultimate acceptance. At least they give you a lifeline, opportunity to what? Revise. But major. So in this case, maybe the method has to be changed. So many things, like the name implies major, you're gonna have to do major revision. So rejection with hope. So how this read is, your paper is not accepted for publication in its current form. The editors and reviewers found it very interesting. Now then you like, Alhamdulillah. So now you feel like there is a kind of hope here. But there were substantial limitations raised. If you can fully address these issues and concerns, we are interested in reviewing a revised version of your manuscript. We cannot offer any assurance that will be accepted after revision and resubmission. So there's no assurance anyway, but at least you have an opportunity to resubmit. Finally, this is rejection after revision, which of course it's not nice, but what can we do? We have now received all the peer reviews reports of your manuscript. While we greatly appreciate the effort that have gone into revising the manuscript, the reviewers, unfortunately, still feel that the manuscript does not meet the requirement of original research for the journal. Therefore, on this occasion, we have decided.
Dr. Rabiu, sorry to disturb you. I think your
Yes.
slide is off again. Can you please share your slide again?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Uh, so Dr. Azza, where am I? Am I still on the? Okay. Cancel. Present.
Can others see the slide or is it just me?
No, I think I have to do
Share
it
it again.
again. Yeah,
Yeah.
reshare it again. So
Sorry to disturb you because I know you were looking at your slides, but
yeah, I didn't know.
we can't share the same view as yours.
Yeah. So can you tell me where it stopped so that at least I can okay, some charges coming in.
The the last slide was the cartoon photo of the the editor. The paper is as a sick person. I think that was the last slide.
Okay. Okay. Um, Can you guys see it now? Everyone, can you
Yeah,
see this slide?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
the best. So here,
Yeah, that was the last. That was the last one I saw. What was after
okay.
that?
So have you guys finished this? Have I
Yeah, yeah,
finished? Okay.
yeah.
So the next thing is this stage where I said that's the
Okay.
rejection time.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, okay, thank you, Dr. Azza. This is the crying time anyway, where the editor kind of decided not to proceed or consider your manuscript. So you got rejection straight away here. And of course, you think that the work is against you because this is normal, but you got it. And this is uh, the content of the email that we normally receive. And I'm sure many of us here can relate to this thing. It's normal. If we want to be in this business, we have to uh, try as much as possible to develop immunity into this because I was talking to one of the postgraduate students last time and he was complaining bitterly. He approached many journals and he got rejection. So I asked the postgraduate student how many. He said four. I laughed. I said only four. He said yeah, but that's not only for him. He thinks that. I said no, don't even start thinking about that. If you want to remain in this business and you want to succeed, when you get four rejection is considered as thank you for being in this journey, but you still have a long way to go. So it's not should be considered as kind of completely this is not for me. So uh, this is something that we will continue to deal with, but we should not take it too hard on ourselves. Um, I think I have already read most of these comments about most of the email contents that we get right in from major revision to rejection with hope and rejection after revision. I believe I have read all that because my mic was on then, so I do not want to repeat that. Um, so when you are able to go through the stages of reviewers comment, the most annoying part is when you are given the lifeline, but then you fail to make an impression to the editor, and the reviewers are not satisfied, so you got rejected after that. So it takes too much of your time, energy, and still did not succeed. So how to start? I have some tips for you here. Number one is review once, read the review once again, just once. You ignore it for a couple of days, you read it again, and then invite your co-authors for a general discussion to create a plan of action. In this stage, just create a plan. So when you see the comment for the first time, it seems like, oh, why are they asking me to do this? I think I cannot do this and that, but just take it chill, calm down, and just read it once and just let it be. Forget about it. Go and do something, sleep, and then later on you come back to that. All comments and concerns raised must be addressed. Sometimes you see people omitting uh, some of the comments. I witnessed this because I was, one of a few. I review a few manuscripts, and I can see how people try to by cut. You ask them some simple questions about why certain things is done, and they ended up not addressing that. And if we feel like that, then we feel like, okay, this guy does not know what he actually did, and in that case, it will be against you. So all the comments must be definitely addressed. You have to respond to all the comments raised. Also, remember that disagreement is also fine and considered as part of the revision process. So sometimes you might not agree with the reviewers. Maybe it's subjective. They kind of say their own opinion because we cannot do away with subjection in research. There's a lot of subjective opinions. But very important, if you have to rebuttal, if you do not agree, very important if the authors could support their rebuttal with facts and data. I have attempted some of this, and I can tell you it was successful when I received some of the comment from the reviewer, and I don't agree with the comment. So what am I supposed to do? I just don't say that I don't agree, but I had to provide data, some information about what has been done previously, and make some citations to support that what I did is right, and I'm not going to do what he is asking me to do. So in this case, the editor will be the judge between you and the reviewer. So prepare all the necessary documents. So cover letter to the editor. Sometimes, we do it in the table form. We address the editor first. He's the judge, and then we go in straight to address the reviewers based on the point. So point by point, a response, and then later to the reviewers and revised manuscript. So you have to prepare all this document handy, and keep your response polite and respectful to all the reviewers. You have to be, sometimes the comment may not be favorable. You'll be angry. Why would they say something like this? But please try as much as possible to be respectful to the reviewers. They are humans, and sometimes they have these feelings that you are arrogant. So don't be arrogant, even if you are not, happy with their comment. Try to be respectful. So I have drafted some uh, example on how you do this one. Now I'm going to share with you how the journey started and how hard it was, and it is still hard. I cannot say words how hard it is. This is the first time I was trying to go into ISI rank journal in our area. These are the mainstream journals who or the journals that is kind of mainstream in your area, which is always kind of difficult. So you can see that it took about 2 years for this manuscript to be published. 2 years, just because I want to climb the tree, Elsevier. I have always been admiring the tree when I'm reading, while I was doing my literature review, when I was doing my master's and PhD, and when I see the papers or in Elsevier, I kind of envy because the way they write it, the information there is so nice and cool. So it guided me a lot in terms of arranging, my research and all that. So I always kind of have this dream of climbing the tree. So when I wanted to climb, it was not an easy ride. I sent the manuscript and it took time. So sometimes you send the manuscript, and because who are you? Why would they even respond to you, even if they are interested in what you have done? So they hold it, and it took time before they would even respond to you. So the first thing you've got to do is find a way to communicate with the editor. Something like a very good day, dear prof, if you know his name, the best, editor's name, because definitely you can know the names of the editor. A very good day, I have submitted my manuscript title, so, and so. You put the manuscript ID to your reputable journal via the online submission system on so dates. 2 days later, the status changed to with editor. However, the status has remained unchanged ever since. This, many of you will relate to this. I would be grateful if you could let me know whether there has been any further progress on my submission. Sometimes we send our work, they say with editor, it will get to a stage whereby you feel, no, I cannot do this again. So you have to write that you want to withdraw your manuscript because they are not acting on it. Unfortunately, many of the journals that are not even at this stage, low ranking journal, they do this practice, which I found very, very annoying. You send your manuscript to a Scopus journal, not even Q ranked, and receive the manuscript, and they just drop it there, keep sending reminder, they don't care. So you should have to have a plan of action. You just don't let it be like that. If you are interested, this kind of thing, I have tried to be very, very patient and look forward to at least insist that I want to go. I do not want to withdraw the manuscript. So at the end of the day, when I communicated with the editor, he addressed me and he told me that he was unable to find a reviewer for the manuscript because I tried to integrate two areas, which I'm going to tell you later on, some of the strategy you need to do. But he will now put it on the express review. This is the first time I heard something about that. Elsevier, Mantab, they are great. Elsevier, excellent. They have this system of express review. So after that time, after I addressed a few, like 2 3 weeks, they responded, and the Elsevier found this editor and they told him that there's a complaint on the social and social like that. Then the editor now responded to me. Okay, he's going to accelerate the review process. So he will now initiate it, identify one expert, told him the problem, and the expert reviewed the manuscript. Finally, tada, that's it. So if you are in this situation, don't despair. Don't feel disheartened. Just keep on to that one. And at the end of the day, it will be fruitful. So there are some responses that we do which kind of reduce the chances of us getting accepted after we pass through the stages of the peer review. The first thing is good example here. We would like to thank the reviewer for the interest on this topic. This is how it should be. Not, I do not think that reviewers understand my point. So when you are angry, then you just start with that one. The way you do this, the more you are killing yourself. So don't even try with that. You will be hearing that, okay, the reviewer has correctly pointed out that. So in this case, you agree, but then you have something in mind. But at least, respectfully said, the reviewer has, correctly find out something, but you feel that, there's something that maybe he's missing. So it would not be necessary to change according to the reviewer's suggestion because, so in this case now, you are trying to be very arrogant for the bad example. So we acknowledge that, yet, so this is some rebuttal. You don't agree, but respectfully declining and saying that you don't agree. Not to say we simply do not have such data. So if you do that, you're killing yourself. We concur with the reviewer that nonetheless, you can see respectfully, not just that by revision the experiences or analysis or the experiment would not actually change our conclusion. If you start with this, then the first thing the reviewer will say, this guy is arrogant and doesn't even understand what he's doing, what the research is all about. And then your chances of getting published, it's kind of low and low and low. So we should try as much as possible to keep our response polite. So it gets better with practice. Like I told you, the only difference between ours is just persistence. There's nothing like that. You remember the first time I wanted to go into Elsevier, it took me 2 years. The next time I wanted to go, it took 8 months. And then I go into plus one, which is also another ISI Q2. It's go even lower than that. And believe me, the communication was smooth. When I sent my manuscript, got the acknowledgement, a few days after, it's under review. About 3 months, got the responses. The result of the review, I answered all that, and in about 5 months, everything is completed, including the publication, everything. So it gets better with practice. That's what I can tell you. It gets better. There is nothing like, oh, I'm not good in this, I'm not good in that. No, you just got to persist. Once you persist, you will get there. So now I just want to share a motivation for you. The next thing you remember, I said getting recognized. If you are not recognized, it will be difficult for you to break through. So this is a problem. This is my problems, which is a kind of a database that track your review activity. I have about 32 verified reviews in all of these journals. So you can see many of them are actually ISI in WOS. So on average, every month I receive about two review invitation to review. Although they are not paying us any money, but I mean, this is part of what we need to do as academics in order to what? Purify the science, advance the knowledge, and contribute our own quota as well. So a few of them are scopers, but quite many of them are ISI. And how did they get to know you? If you are able to break into all these top ranking journals. Remember, I told you in my previous slide, if you want to go or get recognized, you will definitely need to be aiming for a high impact journal. But I told you, and I will also repeat it, that you start slowly. You remember we started with index, and then we go to scopers, and then from scopers to ISI. So let it go slowly. Don't go faster than your shadow. It goes slowly so you can get more experience along the road, along the line. And part of the editorial influence, I got two journals here. One is in ISI and the other one is in Scopus in my area uh, as a guest editor. So what the guest editor normally is doing is they believe that you have certain knowledge to create an area, a niche area where people, researchers will come up and make contribution in order to solve a certain problem in your area. So the first one is SN Applied Sciences, which I have already started. This is my database, it's already opened. I believe it will be difficult to find people in my area as I'm talking to you right now, but it will be good if you guys can, make contribution. Is free of charge, and I've already make all that the announcement via my research gate. And the title I created is Machine Learning in Sports and Physical Activities. So this is the niche where I want to bridge the gap between machine learning and sport and physical activities. And the next one is uh, the Open Sport Sciences Journal. This is also our mainstream journal, and I serve as the guest editor, which I think for 3 years now. It's going to be for 3 years, and I started earlier this year. It's also open for submission, multi-component modeling of performance in team sports towards holistic evaluation techniques for better management of athletic performance. So I just wanted to find a system to let our colleague contribute to develop a system that will holistically evaluate athletic performance uh, in general. So this is the way you get recognized. People wouldn't approach, wouldn't get to know you if you don't go to get all the exposure in all those, high impact journal. This is the value and what we get from there. And you will be invited for keynote speech from time to time. The first time after publishing in 2018, I got an invitation from the Institute, National Sport Institute of Malaysia, to give a talk with my colleague here, one of my friend here, my network guy from University Malaysia Pahang, to talk about machine learning in sports. So we basically started something new. We integrate a new area. When I stayed in Pahang, I was able to see how they do their analysis and they apply this machine learning thingy. And I feel this will be interesting if I can borrow this area into sport. And when I look into it, quite not many people. In fact, I can say in 2018, I was the first one who attempted to apply the machine learning in that specific sport to identify talent. So we found it was difficult when we approached many journals. They would say this is not within our scope because they can see integrating two areas. But finally, I was able to get through. And when I got through, then I got this first invitation for the machine learning to talk. And then after that, the same National Sports Institute, this is now kind of mingling now with the stakeholders, guys. This is talking about the getting recognition in this area. Based on what the little knowledge you have, you want to share with the stakeholders. How can you help and contribute your own quota towards helping people in your area to better the system, to improve the system, to share knowledge, all those kind of things. So they organized a conference which I presented, I think last week. Last week I presented my own as a keynote speaker, and it's part of that one. And also this one, maybe you don't understand Malay, but for those who can understand, it's also invitation for talk to volleyball coaches. This is a volleyball association. So there is a badging coach. Normally we give a badge to coaches. We have to certify that they have this standard of being coaches. So I got invitation also in 2020, somewhere around March, to give a talk to the coaches on performance analysis, how they should analyze and objectively evaluate the performance of their athlete. So this is a few more. There is a few more, but I don't feel comfortable actually talking about myself. I feel really it's not part of my nature, but there's no way I can let you or motivate you without doing this. So I'm not really happy doing this, but just forgive me for this one and allow me to also sip my water before we continue.
Dr. Rabiu, we have around
Yes,
10 minutes left.
thank you. I'm almost
Yeah.
about to finish it up.
All right.
Now,
Others, can you please go to the chat and fill in the registration, the attendance form here?
okay,
And if you
okay,
have questions, do ask in the chat.
okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Azza. Okay. It's still in the process of getting recognized in advancing the knowledge. After I published the first work, I got this email from, this is actually a coach of archery, national coach in France, in Paris. When I published the work, and then she said, "Dear Dr. Musa, I will be delighted to receive a PDF file of your last article entitled The Identification of High Potential Archers Based on Fitness and Motor Ability Variables, a Support Vector Machine Approach, published in Human Science and all that. Thank you in advance." When I look at that, she's actually the head coach of archery in France, which means that these people follow what is going on in research. So they consider research as an aspect area avenue to kind of better what they are doing, to make it the system better, to get knowledge. So they read the work. But guess what? They don't read the work if you publish in low impact journal, because they know that you will be giving them wrong information. So they don't even read. So when you want to get recognition, you have to start thinking about going higher. So the next one, this is one of the respectful professor in our area. When I was doing this archery report from Dr. Hayri Erkan, he's a Turkish guy, really senior professor. I have cited more than 20 of his manuscripts in my PhD study. And when I saw that he's inviting me to attend a conference which he organized in archery, I was like, oh, this cannot be me. This cannot be me. I have seen your publication on archery using machine learning approach. I have to admit that you have done a great job. I couldn't believe it. As you may have seen on the internet, we are organizing international symposium on computer science sport in Moscow in between the dates of 8 July 2019. So I had to, I was scared at that time, no confidence at 2018, and I felt, oh, am I really ready to go for this kind of thing? And in Moscow, so the time given to me to prepare was not actually enough for me to get all the necessary preparation. So I had to decline going to Moscow for that. But I thanked him for even recognizing that I did something good in this area. So this is the final tips that I'm going to give you guys on how you get started. You discuss directly with the stakeholders in your discipline. So this is how you should know where the problem lies. If you go to the stakeholders, go to the root, talk to them, you will definitely find out some problems. You don't have to go and start thinking, cracking your brain, where is the problem, where is the problem? No, no. Go into that area, talk to them, and they will tell you what is their problem. What is the solution that can you offer to them? Begin to discuss with other academics or researchers in a different field. So in this case, we have worked and I have seen how this worked. Dr. Ishak is already in on the call, and this time we've been together all the time. So we started talking. He's in communication and I'm in sport. You might think that there is no evil link with this thing. Then we started talking. He told me more about his area, and then I began to talk to him about our area. And then suddenly we see that we could do something, and then we come up with a plan. How about if we apply a kind of approach to look into injury in sport, but in terms of in kind of a communication in a media approach, a media-based approach. So we started talking about that within, I think, 4 to 6 months when we start discussing. Now, I'm happy to say that we have 2 manuscripts already published, one in Scopus, one in WARS. Just you can see how we do this. Now I started something with engineers, sports, engineering, and now we're integrating sports and communication. So you talk with other transdiscipline, talk to them, and you will be surprised on what are the niche and how you can start a new area in your field. Frequently follow the current trends in your area. So you have to follow the trend. You have to read constantly, check on ResearchGate what is going on in your area, what is the trend. Know as many statistical analysis as possible. This is very important. I found it very vital. If you have a data set, you apply 2 different analyses. It's already 2 different papers looking at 2 different solutions. So if you have this knowledge, it will be really good. Seek for collaboration. Teamwork is the key. You cannot work alone. You need teamwork. So this is the getting started. It is not hard to do something worthy. Just want to show you. This is some final year student project. When we started this, and then we found that it's kind of not a big deal. So how about if we try to start grooming our final year student when they are doing their FYP, sit with us? Why don't they just do something. So they're able to publish in Scopus, and some is index, some peer review journal. At least we get them to see the process of the peer review thingy. And then when I joined UMT, I had to take a course which is healthy lifestyle. So in this healthy lifestyle, I'm expected to teach the student on the healthy lifestyle, how to maintain a good lifestyle, for healthier living. So the course at the end is kind of wants the students to make presentation in group. So when I give them the topic, these students are interested in doing a mini research. So I kind of say, okay, fine, just give them $100, and then I say, okay, go and print this questionnaire, go and print it and distribute to your friends. Just get their opinions. And they got the opinion. I said, come to my office. They come. I just open an Excel and show them how they should key in the data and all that, and say, go and prepare the report. When they brought the report, it's amazing, guys. You will not believe how these guys can do this, especially the Malaysians. They are so. I mean, I found it so interesting that all they need is just support. When you support them, you will not believe what they can do. So when I see their, enthusiasm to do this, these are year 1 and year 2 students, not even year 3. They publish in Q2. This is this Q2 journal, because from their assignment, just assignment in that group. So it's not really difficult to do something worthy, guys. It's not difficult. You just need to get the code, put the spices together, the condiments, and you're good to go. And then after the work is published, a few weeks, I received this letter from the Philippines. Someone is asking for permission, to give him permission to use the methods that we used for my student's assignment. This guy. We are currently working with research paper titled Anthropometric Measures, Physical Activity, Engagement, and Wellness Lifestyle Habit of Collegiate Fresh Men Students. The purpose of this study is to analyze the current anthropometric measures, physical activity, blah, blah, blah. As we look for literature and studies, we found out that your paper titled Appraisal of Wellness Lifestyle Status Among Malaysian Undergraduate Students, a cross-sectional and gender-based wellness survey, which was published in, in line with this, we would like to ask for your permission to adapt, copy. So it's kind of, you do something and then suddenly people are reading and they see something worthy, something to emulate, something to copy. This is how science should be. So this guy right now, this professor, we already have this agreement to share data, and boom, collaboration is already came. So I already have collaboration with the Philippines. Later on, we don't know what it might be. We might share ideas, students, and all that. So that's how sometimes when we use our horizon, we think out of the box, we get something, worthy. It doesn't take too much time. We just need to get started. So this is the concluding remarks. Finally, um, this is the trend. This is what is happening right now. People are going for just to publish because of the pressure, and we know that it will continue. This is thing is going to continue. Issue of publication thing, competition, it is going to continue, and we cannot stop it. Neither you nor I have anything to do about this. We have to do it. So what you need to do, focus on making a difference. Always make sure you make a difference. Don't do just because other people are going for all those indexing. Do take your time, do something valid that can solve a problem. It does not, you can see, it does not take too much to do something that people will benefit. You just need to take your time and do it properly. And most importantly, this cannot be overemphasized. Be kind to yourself. Burnout is real. This is what I need to talk about right now. Guys, people right now refer us. I told you that I'm not much different from you because I'm an early career researcher. So there is something we call burnout. This burnout is real. It's a situation whereby you started as a, holiday stage, honeymoon stage, when you feel everything is going great and you have all the energy and everything. And then if you don't take care of yourself, the whole thing will become very, very hard for you to take. And from there, you are burnt out. So you stress come in, so many things come in, and then you lose the interest, everything. So you cannot go far. You have to be kind to yourself. When you want to do this publication, it does not mean that you have to be very hard to yourself, that every single time you sit down and then you think about publication. Do something different. Watch movies if you want to do whatever you want. Know yourself, know what you want, know what triggers you, what makes you happy. Just do it. Don't always think that this is, I have to do it by hook by crook, I need to do it. No, don't try that. It's really real. I was, during the post MCO for 3 months, I could not write anything. I just sat down, I have the idea, everything, but I placed my hands on the keyboard. I cannot write anything. And then I said, fine, my body, my brain doesn't want to work. So let it do what it wants to do. So I shifted my energy towards learning something new. Kind of, I try to update myself in my area, get to know something as a teacher. What can I get to improve my teaching and all that? So take care of yourself, guys. Take care of yourself. I cannot say this, more. And this is it. This is the end. Thank you for listening. This is the end of the presentation. It's already 4 on the dot. Um.
Thank you, Dr. Rabiu. There are a few questions, Dr. Rabiu.
All right.
At the chat, can you look through at the chat? There are 2 questions there.
Okay. I can see one from Abdul Muttalib.
Both from him. Yeah.
Let's all go from him. How do you tackle the questions when the reviewer have views with you? Convey the contradict among themselves? Oh, yes. In this case, actually, doctor, what we do is you do what you think is right, and then you let the editor now be the judge. Normally, that's the work of the editor. So the editor will now look at the 2 reviews and your response. This reviewer A say this, reviewer B say this, and you feel maybe you are more inclined towards reviewer A. So you do that one, but remember what I said, whatever you want to do, you have to make sure that you support with data. Find some concrete evidence to prove that what you have done is the right thing. So when you take this side and then you provide all the data, then the reviewer, the editor will now decide, because he's the judge, will now look at your response, what the reviewer said, and then try to provide a compromise. Sometimes if the compromise is not reached, then the editor will invite another reviewer, which is the third reviewer, to take a look at that. So based on that, it's normally solved. Like I have done that before, and I did not agree with one of the reviewer, and I stated my reasons. And luckily enough, the editor was so kind to understand me and allow me to go. Just let the other reviewer just did not bother to contact him again. And the next question is, what database repository you advise for the systematic conceptual write-up? It depends, because I talk about these condiments and spices, doctor. We need to find a way to put some spices into what we do. Always how you present the data, what you put, how you present the graphs and all that, because this is just 101. So I cannot go into that. I just want to show in this talk to show our dear postgraduate students that you are not alone in the journey. Maybe this is what you will have to pass through. So you have to show that they are in the process. So what you need to do is take a look at what you do and what is different. If you feel like you have something that is tangible, I advise you, doctor, go for not lower than Scopus. Go up. Even if you have more condiments, more salt, more spices, go for ISI. Just test the water. It doesn't take anything. Test it. So that is what I can say on that one. Maybe as time goes on, we could have the series, because I can see since Dr. Azza was like 101, then I know definitely it's going to be continued. So maybe later on they will invite another person and all that. So start from there. But hopefully this is a series that will continue to do that. And okay, my colleague here, my dear brother is here, Dr. Ishak. Shravi, thank you so much for sharing your wonderful experience. May you briefly talk about other databases such as ERA and PubMed? Okay, ERA, stands for Excellent for Research in Australia. So when it started in Australia as excellent for research, and other universities now begin to embrace ERA as a way of measuring the performance of their academics. And if you remember, Dr. Ishak, I spoke about those guys who are in arts, social sciences, humanities that are difficult for them to break into this corpus because of the competition. So that is why ERA was introduced to specifically serve for these people, so that at least when they publish in ERA, let it be recognized and used for academic promotion. But unfortunately, now it got abused. ERA, you can see many journals that are predatory now indexed in ERA, so they kind of lose in terms of their quality control. So if people ask you, you publish in ERA, when you say, why do you publish? You say ERA. No, no, no. You just look at you and you did not do anything. There's nothing. So you don't care. But PubMed is one, I mean, really above, is top in terms of indexing manuscript. For example, those who are in the area of health, medical field, they basically kind of index in PubMed because their quality control is superb, really high. So you can see most of those high impact journals are really indexed in PubMed. So PubMed is a database that stored manuscript with high level of quality for that one. And I can say that they are really, really higher than ERA. When you see most of the journals indexed in PubMed, be rest assured that the journal is credible and has quality. I hope I answered your questions, Doctor. ERA is not difficult, but I don't know. Okay, there's a doctor. If it is acceptable or not. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, right now, it's no longer acceptable. Nobody cares. Even the university for promotion, they will tell you if you are not in Scopus, forget about it. That's it. So that is why I still repeat this thing that we just have to find a way to survive. Let's start something. Dr. Mutalib, it's, I mean, in communication, you'll see. So talk with other people in a different area and try to see how you can do something that will catch the attention of the editor, because the competition is so fierce, so very, very strong. You check the number of the journals that are indexed in Scopus, which is under these social sciences, art and humanities. They are not much in Scopus. And if you know how many number of manuscript they receive, you would not believe it. So how would the editor now even consider your paper? Because it seems like you are not adding something new. And the editor, remember, they have their own KPI, they have their own, way of wanting to push their kind of journal ahead, remain on top. So they will not give you a chance. So it becomes, I mean, many people will not agree with me, because I know most of the senior professors will say, stick to your area, don't go anywhere. But trans-discipline now is the way. We cannot run away from it. We have to find a way to trans-discipline. Otherwise, we will not survive in this environment. It will be difficult. We'll struggle. So I hope I've answered that one. Sometimes I talk too much. Allow me to take my water as usual. If you have any other question, guys, you can also use the mic to talk. You can ask the questions as freely as possible. Okay, I think that as I have answered, I think most of the questions, guys. If you have more, you can are free to answer that. So I believe everyone is clear, and it's good to talk to you guys. And I wish you success in all your endeavors. And do not forget, you need to find your support system. You cannot do it alone. Okay, Dr. Azza, over to you. You have something to say? Welcome, Dr. Sharon. Is Dr. Azza still here in us? Are you with us?
Sorry, Dr. Rabiu, I'm also on the phone. Okay,
Okay.
you want to thank you very much, Dr. Rabiu, for today. We will share the recording with everyone. Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. It was very
Thank you.
inspirational. Thanks.
All right. Bye, guys.
You are.